And once you understand the tools and techniques that can help you identify the problems in your organization, now the next task will be selecting the most important problem. There are so many problems. One of you already asked, if there are so many problems, then how will I choose a particular problem first? That's called prioritization. We learn one prioritization tool and then the project identification tools. So this particular session, you will be learning about the prerequisite for project identification. The team which is identifying the projects or which is identifying the Six Sigma project should have certain information about the organization strategy and other things. We call it prerequisites for project identification. And then a specific process, maybe I would say a standardized process for projects identification and selection. But it can differ from company to company slightly. And then tools like voice of customer, voice of business, cost of poor quality, we will understand. In the process, we will also be learning clearly about CTQ and CTB, critical to quality and critical to business. Critical to quality comes from voice of customer. Critical to business is derived from voice of business. We'll understand all these things. And also we will learn the project prioritization tool. All right. So generally, if you are part of the team who is going to identify the project for Six Sigma, first of all, you must have a clear understanding on the strategic goals and the policy deployment system in your company. What are the strategic goals and how your company is currently what your current company currently want to achieve? We call it the strategic goal, and then how they achieve it. That's called the policy deployment system. And then you should also be able to align the improvement efforts with the strategy. Any project you do, that should properly align with the strategy of your company. And then you must have a clear understanding on the core business process, because any company, there is collection of processes. So what are the processes the company is running? So obviously the problem happens because of failure of one of your business process. So the team which is selecting which is about to select the projects or the problem areas should have an idea about the strategic goals of the company, and they should align the improvement efforts with the organization strategy, and then they should also have an idea about the various business processes that the company is running. So strategic goals. So what are strategic goals? Strategic goals are nothing but the goals of your top management. These are generally ambitious. These generally take a longer time to achieve. For example, your company CEO or your chairman of the company, he wanted to improve the market share. So can improving the market share, do you think you can improve the market share within a month or within a quarter? It takes a longer time, right? So any goal that requires a longer time for its realization, which is ambitious in nature, we call it strategic goal. So strategic goals are nothing but the goals of the top management. So always the top management, whatever they want to achieve, they will achieve it through the help of the middle managers. So they will pass on the goal to the next level. By breaking down the strategic goal, they will pass on the goals to the next level. The next level goals are called tactical goals. And similarly, the tactical managers, they will also again break down and then pass on the goals to the middle level managers. If this breakdown of the goal and then passing on of the responsibility happens properly, automatically there will be a goal alignment. If the goal alignment happens, then whatever I am interested, you will also have interest. Whatever the operational team is willing to achieve, the same thing your top management also will also be willing to achieve. And as a result, the alignment happens, and then your project can be easily approved. For example, let's say one of the strategic goal of any company is cash conversion cycle. So what is cash conversion cycle? The time it takes for your company to convert the resources into dollars. You have raw material, you have machineries, you have manpower, and a lot of resources are there. And how do you make use of the resource? And then how do you, get back the money again? So that is measured using a financial metric called cash conversion cycle. So cash conversion cycle is definitely KPI of the top management. Not everybody in the company will be worried about. If you are a CEO or if you are the managing director of the company, then you will definitely worry about the longer cash conversion cycle. For example, in your company, the cash conversion cycle is 200 days. So what do you understand by having a cash conversion cycle of 200 days? You have to invest for running your company for at least 200 days. The running cost that the top management has to invest. For running the company, you require the raw material. Now the 200 days to run it, all the raw material required, it is your money. Your money has to be invested. And similarly, the manpower and other resources you can take into account. Over and above. So one thing is your investment on the inventory. Your investment on the inventory is going to decide the cash conversion cycle. So generally, cash conversion cycle is measured in terms of number of days. I said it is 200 days. And another factor that will affect the cash conversion cycle is the payments receivable. You produced the product, you supplied to the customer, but then also customer will have a credit period. He will pay only after 30 days. So now again, who is going to support the organization for 30 days? Again, the management. So that becomes another factor. The second factor, the payables. The second factor is the second factor is the receivables. The payment receivables. Payment receivables will also increase the cash conversion cycle. So what are the two things that can increase your cash conversion cycle? Inventory, and number two, the payment receivables. But one more factor, impacts your cash conversion cycle. That is the payables. You can purchase material from your supplier and you can pay them little later. That will also happen, am I right? You procure the raw material or something you purchase and then you will pay after 20 days. So when your credit period is more, that will actually, will give some relief on the cash conversion cycle. So you can get the material and you can pay. So cash conversion cycle is calculated using these three factors. First factor, inventory. Second factor, the receivables. Third factor, payables. So you measure everything in terms of number of days because everything should be in same unit. Number of days of inventory you hold plus number of the payment receivables according to the in terms of number of inventories minus payment payables. That will give you the cash conversion cycle. So what is the current cash conversion cycle in your company? 200 days. Now you are the CEO in your company. You want to reduce the cash conversion cycle from 200 days to, let's say, 100 days. Is it a good project? Reducing the cash conversion cycle from 200 days to 100 days.
Yes,
but in order to reduce the cash conversion cycle, maybe you have to run number of projects because it depends on several other factors. So as a clever top management, what you will do is, the relationship of the cash conversion cycle with the inventory, as well as the payables, as well as the receivables. So you will break down your goals. You will break down the goals. Some of the goals will be passed on to the accounts department or people who are taking care of the accounts, for example, the payments and receivables. But on the technical side, inventory is an important thing, isn't it? Inventory, if the inventory is more, cash conversion cycle is more. So the inventory turnover ratio, improving the inventory turnover ratio is passed on to the next level of managers. The next level of managers, the middle managers, are made responsible to improve the inventory turnover ratio. Why the responsibility is passed on? Because when the inventory turnover ratio improves, what will happen to the cash conversion cycle? Cash conversion cycle will come down. So inventory turnover ratio, if it is more, that means, your processes are fast enough to get the money faster to your company, right? That's the inventory turnover ratio. The formula of inventory turnover ratio is equal to cost of goods sold divided by average inventory within a specified period of time. What is the cost of goods sold and what is the average inventory you hold? And now tell me, I want to improve the inventory turnover ratio. How can I improve the inventory turnover ratio? Either I will increase the numerator or I will decrease the denominator. Am I right? Because inventory turnover ratio, ITR, is equal to COGS, which is cost of goods sold divided by average inventory during the period. Will you be able to increase the cost of goods sold, which is numerator? That is, that depends on the strength of your sales and marketing team. They get more order, then you can sell the product, cost of goods sold can increase. But if you think that is not under your control, then you can work on the denominator. What is in the denominator? The inventory. So average inventory, when you reduce the inventory, cash conversion cycle will improve. And so inventory reduction, whether it is work in process inventory or raw material inventory or finished good inventory, the inventory reduction is the responsibility of all the down level managers. If the down level managers works on reducing the inventory, what will happen to the middle managers? They will be able to improve the inventory turnover ratio. If the middle managers improve the inventory turnover ratio, what will happen? The number of cycles of business will be more. Within a specific period of time, the number of cycles of business will be more. That means you require investment only for a shorter period of time. And so your cash conversion cycle can come down. So this is called, goal alignment. The top management goals are called strategic goals. The middle management goals are called tactical goals. And the down level managers goals are called operational goals. The operational goals are nothing but the Six Sigma projects. The operational goals are nothing but the Six Sigma project. So this is how generally organizations realize their goal, right? And you can visualize the goal alignment using some kind of diagrams like this. See here, strategic objective 1, strategic objective 2 and 3. And these are here annual objectives are written. What are annual goals? The tactical goals. Tactical goals can be achieved within an year's time. And because the tactical goals are nothing but the broken down versions of the strategic goal. And again, annual your tactical goals, when I break down further, that becomes the improvement projects. Number 1, number 2, number and 3. Improvement projects or the Six Sigma projects, the goals can be achieved within 3 to 6 months of time, depending on the complexity of the project. And see here, some markings are done here. What does it mean? There is a tick mark here. It means your strategic goal number 1 is connected with the annual goal number 3. And now annual goal number 3 is connected with improvement project number 3. So do you see an alignment here?
Screen, use shared screen.
Yes, screen is shared. Is it visible to all of you? My screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Screen I have shared. Is it Bajis not visible to you?
Not visible. That's why.
Okay, check your connectivity. I think
Okay.
I have shared.
So it's very
light. Yes,
light.
yes. The slide, this particular slide, no content is light. But I only want you to understand this. The strategic goals are here. The tactical goals are here. Operational goals are here. One strategic goal can lead to multiple tactical goals. One tactical goal can lead to multiple operational goals. That means you do number of Six Sigma projects, few tactical goals will be achieved. In this way, if the number of tactical goals are achieved, then one of the strategic goals will be achieved. This is actually called goal alignment. This should happen when you do a project, right? When you do any Six Sigma project. If the goal alignment happens, definitely any top management will be interested in approving your project. Am I right or not? Because they know when you solve a particular problem, that also solves my problem. So I'll be interested in supporting your project. And then you can for each and every project, you can assign the roles and responsibility, right? So in order to achieve the goals, some initiatives are created. Then the initiatives will, the initiatives are nothing but the projects. Then projects will have the target. Then for the each and every project, somebody is made responsibility. So this is a type of policy deployment system. If you could visualize this and make everybody understand, and definitely they will be motivated to do better, because what I am doing is actually, I am able to help my organization really achieve the strategic goal. If I understand that information, probably I will be more interested in delivering results in my project. So these are the goals of top managers, and then middle managers, and then the projects, and then every project should have the target. All right. And similarly, aligning the improvement efforts with the strategy. So we already spoke about this. Suppose if the market position of your company is weak, tell me what will be your top management strategy. If the market condition is weak, would you like to strengthen your product, or would you like to expand your product line? We will be willing to strengthen the product, because that is why our market is weak. So that means all your projects should be necessarily DMAC projects. Suppose if your market position is very strong on the other side, all your products are already doing very well than the competitors, then probably you can focus on new product development, and DMAT projects will be encouraged. And then core business process. Any company will have level 1 and level 2 process. Level 1 and level 2. The level 1 processes are like market study. Will you be studying the market? Like, what is the potential for a product? Before launching any product, you will study the potential market, how much sales you can expect, and all those things. So you will be doing some survey, you will be doing Kano analysis, you will be doing QFD studies, and all that you will be doing. That is called market study. And then next kind of process is product development, and then process development, and then order fulfillment. Like you get the order from the customer, and then schedule the production, and then you actually produce, and then you have to arrange for the shipment. And also processes related to end of life. Some of the products you may stop producing after some period of time, maybe because of the new technology, something happened. You may have to stop the production of some of the existing products. You call it end of life processes, right? And now these are the broader level 1 processes. Why should you know about it? If a failure happens, is it important which particular process you need to improve, isn't it? So this is how broadly the processes exist in your company. Then under each category, you can see a lot of other processes. For example, in a manufacturing company, processes like drawing, bending, punching, and so many things will be there. Similarly, product development mean the designing, prototype development, redesigning, design approval, these kind of things will be there. And order fulfillment means how you receive the order from the customer, and then how do you schedule the production, and then how you actually produce, and then how do you prepare for the shipment. And similarly, end of life, decide the sunset date. Sunset date means a particular date after which the product will not be available in the market, right? And for that decision, you should get the buy-in from all the stakeholders. And then once the buy-in is obtained, you will communicate about the end of life. For example, sometime back, Maruti stopped producing Maruti 800. So a decision is made on the sunset date, and then the buy-in is obtained, and then after that particular period of time, all operations related to the particular product will be stopped. And now imagine, in a company, the payment to the supplier is a problem. The payment to the suppliers are not happening on time. Since payments are not happening on time, they are not supplying the materials on time to you. And now which process needs to be improved? The order fulfillment process. Within order fulfillment process, the particular category is payment to the supplier. So now it is your responsibility to improve how the payment is happening with respect to each of the supplier. So you are visualizing the supplier payment process. So how the payment is made to the supplier? The invoice should be received, am I right? Retrieve the invoice, and then ensure the invoice compliance, whether the material is arrived, Actually, you have the item is received in your factory, and whether it is entered in the stock, and many things you will be checking. And then you will check whether who supplied the material, and you will also validate the signature. And then once the approval is given, you will actually make the payment, and then the payment details will be shared with the supplier. This is how the supplier payment process is happening. Why do I why do I visualize all these things? Because I am going to finally improve this process. This process has set of activities. Everything is an activity here. This is actually a level 2 process. Within level 2 process, how many steps are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 steps are there. Why payment is not going to the supplier? One of the step is delaying the payment, or one of the test there is a failure. One of the step there is a failure happening. So it is now your project is simply improving the payment process which you are doing to the supplier. So this is called process knowledge. Any company, these kind of processes will be there. If any problem you wanted to solve, you should be able to understand which particular process, whether the process at level 1 is failing, or process at level 2 is failing, or any specific activity is failing. You should be able to have an idea. This is called high level view of the process. And then project identification. And generally in any company practicing Six Sigma extensively, their project selections happens with the committee. But of course, it can vary slightly from company to company. The project champions, master black belts and black belts, and all of them, as a team, they will follow a structured method. They'll follow a structured method. That means they first review the strategic plans of the company, the strategic goals of the company, and the targets set for the strategic goals. These are all related to the top management. And then they will review the target and the actual. Now you can measure the target, compare the target and actual at the organization level, at the department level, as well as at the functional level. And then if any gap exists, you need to identify why there is a gap. We have planned for production of this much, but actually it has not happened. Why production has not happened? So we need to improve the our productivity. There is a gap here. Which particular process is not capable enough? So you identify the L1, L2 process as well as the work steps as we discussed. And once the particular process is identified, once you understand this is a particular process is what is responsible for the gap in performance, and that is an opportunity for improvement. And then what you do is likewise all the wherever there is a gap, all the gaps will be listed, and then now you will see for yourself lot of gap in performance exist at the functional level or at the department level or at the organization level, and accordingly now you need to prioritize. So a little bit of brainstorming and a kind of ranking activity you need to do, and then you will prioritize the project. Whichever appears in the top, you call it appears in the top, probably that is considered the project which is of most important. We already talked about goal, we already talked about KPI, and we know what is target. We also know what is metric, right? So every goal will obviously have a KPI and a target, and then only you can, at any moment of time, you can understand whether the goal is reached or not. So this is how it follows, but it sometimes it varies from company to company. And then what is voice of customer? So let us understand this directly with an example. So voice of customer is nothing but the expressions or the statements that drive customer satisfaction. Expressions or the statements that drive customer satisfaction. But always when you refer to the expressions and statements of the customer, it won't be very specific and it won't be very clear. It will be vague in nature. For example, when you are manufacturing a car and customer will say, I want to know the best car. I want the best car. But what do you mean by the best car? No, you can't expect more than that, from the customer. It is now your responsibility to understand what the customer mean by the best car. So from the voice of customer, you should be able to identify the CTQs. So what are CTQs? Are the critical to quality characteristics. These are the measurable elements that will define the customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction depends on several features in your product. How will you measure each feature, using a metric? And that metric that helps you to understand, the satisfaction of the customer are called CTQ metric. And you can always collect the voice of customer either in a reactive way or in a proactive way. What is reactive way? A failure has happened and then customer makes a complaint, and now you are listening to the customer. That is called reactive way of listening to the customer. And sometimes what happens, a company will have the habit of continuously collecting feedback from the customer at the right from the time of inquiry, even after purchasing the product, during the usage, every moment. For example, when you buy a car, they will ask you, how was your buying experience with the company? And then once you finish give your car for a service, they will again do a survey. Sir, how was your experience with the first service the company has provided? So this is proactive. You don't wait for the customer to make a complaint. You voluntarily approach the customer and ask whether he is satisfied or not. So always there are two sources, reactive and then proactive. So some of the reactive sources to listen to the voice of the customer is customer complaints, problems or service hotlines. You have a special number. Anybody can call and then register their complaint. And the customer calls, sales, decreased sales or increased sales. Even if the sales increases, that is also a voice of the customer. The sales goes down, that is also a voice of the customer. And similarly, contract cancellation. Some of your customers are canceling the contract with you. Why? They are unhappy with some of your features of your business, and so they cancel the contract. Can you not understand that and then improve your performance with respect to the particular feature? Then that can be a Six Sigma project. And any social media or web page activities of your customer. Customer is writing badly about your product in a social media page. That is also an opportunity for improvement. But these are considered as reactive sources. These are considered as reactive sources. Similarly, the proactive sources. You voluntarily conduct interviews, focus group discussion. You do a survey. You design a questionnaire, and then you do a survey about what the customer would like to have in your products. Sales visits, market research, and benchmarking, business scorecards and dashboards, and these are all proactive sources. For example, the voice of customer. There is a statement here. I don't want to wait too long to see the doctor. See, a customer is making this kind of statement. Can you tell me where the statement happens? The statement is happening probably in a hospital, right? So patients are, it is not just voice of just one patient. Almost majority of the people who are visiting your hospital, they are saying that you are making us to wait too long to see the doctor. Already we are sick. We come to your hospital, but you make us to wait in a waiting room and you are playing a full movie for us. So that is really not a good approach. So voice of the customer is this. But here, what do we understand? From this, we understand that problem is not related to the way the treatments are given, facilities are available. Everything is perfect. What is the problem then? Problem is we are making the patient to wait for a longer time before allowing them to meet the customer. The moment you understand, waiting time is the problem, the problem becomes measurable. If you think your patients are unhappy, and if you simply assume that the treatment is bad and other things, even if you try to improve that, still the problem will continue, because the customer complaint is about waiting time. But when I say when I see the VOC, it is a big statement, but it is not specific. But when I write the metric patient waiting time, so just 2 or 3 words, but makes a lot of sense to me. The problem will become measurable the moment you identify the correct CTQs from the voice of the customer. So this is one thing. And can somebody read out this statement?
My baby control cries
My baby.
uncontrollably.
Sorry.
Come on, read it louder. When my baby cries,
My baby cries uncontrollably when she gets a shot.
okay, now what is the problem? This is a customer statement, right? This is a customer statement, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So this is voice of customer. Now, what is your understanding about this? What is the problem here? How will you measure the problem now? Or if you want to solve this problem, tell me how will you solve it?
The pain, injection pain has to reduce. Means injection has to be done properly.
Injection has to be done properly, right? So that means the child is crying uncontrollably, and solution to the problem has to be offered. And why is the child is crying? We need to understand. You know why the child is crying? Because because the injection is injected. And now what is causing the pain? What is causing the pain? The needle is causing the pain. Am I right? The needle is causing the pain. So it is the needle which is making the child cry uncontrollably. Am I right? Slowly we are able to go to the real problem. And then again, when you see the needle, the length of the needle also matters. Right? The length of the needle matters, and then the size of the needle also matters. And generally it is measured in terms of gauge size. They call it in medical world, they call it gauge size 23, 24, 25, and 26. And when it is a 23 gauge, it will be orange in color. And then the inner diameter of the gauge is 0.33 mm. Inner diameter is how much? 0.33. And so outer diameter will be how much? Maybe 0.35 or 0.37. Isn't it? And so if the outer diameter is 0.35, inner diameter is 0.33, then what is the thickness? 0.02. So now it is the diameter, the outer diameter, let's say 0.35, which is causing pain to the child when the injection is given. Am I right or not? If the outer diameter is instead of 0.35, if it is 1.5 mm, will you tolerate? Even we will cry uncontrollably. Am I right?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
so the problem is actually is the size of the needle. So that is why they are making it as thin as possible. So the outer diameter of the needle is SCTQ. If the outer diameter is more, then child will cry more. If the outer diameter is less, then pain will be less. The child may not cry or can tolerate. So the CTQ here is the outer diameter of the needle. If outer diameter of the needle is CTQ, what is inner diameter of the needle? That is business challenge, right? When the inner diameter is 0.33, then how can I ensure I drill a hole that will make my inner diameter 0.33? Isn't it? The outer diameter causes the pain, and inner hole is required for the medicine to flow. So voice of customer, when I want to solve, another problem comes, voice of business. From the voice of customer, I identified CTQ. What is CTQ? The outer diameter. My goal is to reduce it. But when I keep on reducing the outer diameter, what will happen? Now drilling a hole inside will become a problem, a business problem. A customer problem now creates a business problem. Customer problem understood from the voice of the customer, and it is converted into CTQ. Similarly, the voice of business is understood from the VOB, and that is converted into CTB. CTB, critical to business. And finally, we are settling at 0.33 mm as the internal diameter. So always any problem, we should be good at identifying the correct CTQs. If you fail to identify the correct CTQs, whatever you do, problem will remain as it is. Am I correct or not? Right?
Correct.
And that's how any problem which you wanted to solve, you should be able to identify the CTQs. CTQs are nothing but the measurable metrics. So now tell me, is that customer complaints are good or bad?
Good.
Always good.
Customer complaints are always good, right?
Always good.
And many companies generally they don't like their customers to complain about their product. So actually, no, you should be open to receive, openly you should be willing to receive your, voice of the customer. Either you document it with some mechanism, or no, is it the feedback you are collecting? You should have certain mechanism to record your voice of customer. Otherwise, you will not understand, the opportunity that exists for improvement. So how many of you watched this advertisement, Surf Excel advertisement? Dark acha. That means customer complaints are good. So we have to resolve the complaints one by one in such a way that it doesn't come again, right? So to capture the voice of customer, it is important to collect data from a large representative sample of the targeted customer base. To collect this data, Six Sigma practitioners can use government records, surveys and questionnaires, census data, or you can use case studies. What will be your best option? Suppose you want to understand what your customers are thinking about your products and services. Which option will you make use of?
Surveys and questions.
Surveys and questionnaires.
Yes, surveys and questionnaires are the best option, but designing the survey questions is very important. Ask the right questions, keep the right options, then only you will be able to understand your customer, right? All right. So project identification methods are nothing but you can identify problems based on the customer's voice. Customer can be external, customer can be internal. And how many of you have some mechanism to listen to your external customer? Hope all of you will be having, right? And similarly, do you also have mechanism to receive internal complaints from the internal customers? Who are internal customers? Maybe all your employees, right? All your employees are also internal customer. If you simply keep a suggestion box, you will see number of project ideas flowing into the box. Am I right or not? Right. So have some mechanism to listen to record the voice of the customer. You can identify number of problems based on the customer voice, but see to that you convert all the voice of the customers into appropriate CTQs. Then only it is measurable. Similarly, you can identify problems based on business voice. For example, cash conversion cycle was a problem. Whose voice it is? Maybe your finance director or the top management. Generally the voice of the leaders are considered the voice of the business. Similarly, problems identified based on cost of poor quality, the rejection happening, the rework happening, the product recall happening, and deliveries are not happening on time. All of them are what? All of them are cost of poor quality. You can identify so many projects by referring to the VOC, VOB, as well as cost of poor quality. So, but what is important, from each voice, you should be able to identify the CTQs, CTBs, and the cost of poor quality metric. And now you will have so many projects in hand. That means so many problems are nothing but the improvement opportunities. So this is one method. And another method is you can also do a brainstorming. You can call all the departments. And you can ask them to represent their problem. And then it can be recorded. And then you can prioritize. So I think if you arrange a half-day brainstorming session, and everybody will come with a big list of problems. Am I right? You can call all the department heads, and maybe somebody might even cry in that hall if you give an opportunity. So many such problems are there in any company. Right. Now the point is, how can I narrow down a vague problem given by a customer into a measurable metric? The tool you can use is CTQ tree. For example, the first one. Can somebody read a statement? Somebody read the statement.
Not a lot of people are visiting our shopping mall.
Oh, you are a big shopping mall owner, but people are not coming. Now, is it a problem? Is it an opportunity for improvement? Definitely, right? And so, but in order to measure your pain, I am breaking down into into drivers. You are concerned, you are worried about you want more people to visit your mall. If more people are visiting your mall, you will be happy, definitely. And then, are you only concerned about people, number of people visiting, or the amount of business happening also? So amount of business happening also, right? If more business happens, then also your satisfaction will impact. And do you want to attract more male customers or female customers? It depends on the kind of shops you have inside, isn't it? So male customers or female customers, or you want to attract children. Likewise, you should break down a vague requirement into specific. And again, you need to identify the CTQs. Now, how will you measure how many people are visiting my mall? The one way is footfall per day. What is footfall per day? The number of people who walks into my mall every single day. And you keep an eye on it, monitor it, and then look at the average of it, and then try to improve the average. And that is one way you can solve your problem. And similarly, the revenue, the amount of business that happens in your mall every day, that needs to be measured. And if that is not attractive, you can try to improve that. And then the number of male customers visiting. See, you can always you keep the denominator the way you want. You can measure it per day basis. You can measure it per week basis. You can measure it hourly basis. It all depends on the intensity of the problem, right? It all depends on the requirement. And similarly, the number of female customers and number of children who are visiting your mall. When you have all these number, will you now be able to better understand the problem? Right? So that means a vague statement given by the customer. Sorry, if you look at the first statement, it is less specific, very vague in nature. And only with this statement, you can't measure the problem. What you did, you identified some drivers of satisfaction. Then you identified the CTQs. CTQs are nothing but measurable metrics. Can you measure each and everything on the right side? Definitely. And now you know how can you measure, what kind of measurement system is required. All that can be planned. But when you are on the left side, you can't take action, right? So you identifying CTQs will make you take action. If you take action and work on it, then you will be able to progress. So the less specific, hard to measure statement is converted to a more specific and easy to measure metrics. The easy to measure metrics are called CTQs. Similarly, the second problem. One of you read it. What is this?
I just need a quality footwear.
Yeah. Do you understand the problem now? Your customer says, I need a quality footwear. Are you able to now understand the problem? Looks difficult. And even if you understand the problem, you can't measure it. And so what you need to do is, you need to identify the drivers of satisfaction. Can you tell me some of the features which will drive the satisfaction if your product is a footwear?
Quality of sole.
Again, the word comes quality, right? Okay. So that means, the footwear should be lightweighted. Am I right? If it is less weight, probably I will prefer to buy. And then when I wear it, it should be comfortable. And again, it looks vague. Always, you should make it measurable. Anyway, and then durable. When I buy it, I should be able to use it for at least 1 year or 2 years. The longer is better. And then it should be roomy enough. Like even after wearing, I should still be able to move my fingers inside, right? Roomy enough. And then it should give me a stable performance, whether I use it for running or I use it for walking or I use it for playing some game. I can keep on adding. Am I right? I can keep on adding, like if some of you, cost also. I have identified only few drivers of satisfaction. You must identify all drivers of satisfaction. Then lightweight. Will I be able to measure the lightweightness of the shoe?
Yes.
How?
Weight.
The overall weight in grams. Now it is measurable. And comfortable. Maybe the heel height. Somebody talked about the sole or something. If the heel height, it should be the height of the heel should be comfortable to me. It should make me comfortable. And then durable means, what do I mean by durable? The number of kilometers I can use the shoe for running or whatever it is, right? The best way. And then, for example, you can see certain shoe manufacturer, they advertise, you can use the shoe and you can run 1,000 kilometers using my shoe. That means, they are indirectly telling you that you can use it for running up to 1,000 kilometers. It will function in a proper way. And then the roomy enough means the contour width and depth. That will give you an idea about whether you can move the fingers up and down and left and right or not, right? Why my slides are automatically moving, right? And then stable, the heel flatness. If it is properly flat, then it will definitely ensure stability to me. Now, can you measure everything on the right side? If you measure everything on the right side and make it acceptable to your customer, now your left side is fulfilled. This is called CTQ identification using a tool called CTQ tree. Nothing but a template, nothing but a table, right? First, the customer voice, and second column, the drivers of satisfaction. Third column, the CTQs. Each driver can give you CTQs. It can be multiple also. Each driver can give you multiple CTQs. Okay, a customer segment complains about delay in responding to their queries. A metric that can be used to track the performances. Can you tell me what is the metric helpful now?
Response
Delivery
time.
time.
Response time. So what is response time? Can somebody explain it? What is the
Time
response?
taken to respond to the customer.
Exactly, right? The time taken to respond to the customer. I have sent an email to your company. Then how much time do you take to respond to my email? Or I have raised a ticket. How much time you take, to respond to my ticket? So the response time. So you should be able to carefully understand what is that the customer is talking about, and you work on improving the appropriate metric. A customer segment complains about a longer transaction. A metric now that can be used to track the performances. Now, what is the
Transaction time.
transaction time, right? So you need to identify the right CTUs. Very good. So the dash comes from within the business, and dash is provided by the customer.
Voice of
Voice of
from
business
the
comes
business.
from within the business, and voice of customer is provided by the customer.
Very good. When I say voice of business, whose voice it is? Can you give me an example? Is it the all the employees' voice are considered voice of business, or only the people who hold the leadership position?
Stakeholders,
People who hold the leadership position, their voice is considered voice of business, because the employees are considered internal customers. Right. And now cost of quality. There are two types of cost of quality. One is cost of good quality. Another one is cost of poor quality. Cost of good quality, you have again two types: cost of prevention and cost of appraisal. And cost of poor quality, there are two types of, because cost of poor quality means the cost associated with the failure, right? It can be, failure can be internal, failure can be external. What is internal failure? If a failure happens before dispatching
the dispatch.
yes, that is internal failure. Very good. If the failure happens after the dispatch, that is external failure.
External.
And now, cost of prevention. Some example, easy example. You are training all your employees. For example, all of you are now undergoing the black belt training program. Is it a cost of good quality or cost of poor quality?
Good quality.
Cost of good quality, right? You are trying to prevent a failure in the future. When you actually do a project, you don't want to fail in your project in producing the result. So you are now taking the training. So attending training is a cost of good quality. And quality management programs, you have QMS software, you have a lot of process control activities, you are plotting control charts and many things. And the design reviews are happening, and all of them are cost of good quality. And particularly all these activities are prevention activities. For example, you are creating a production schedule. For creating production schedule for the next 1 week, will it require some time? Some people have to sit down, they have to have a meeting, they will understand what the customer want, They will also understand what you have in your company as resources, and so what is possible and what could be a appropriate schedule. They create. It takes half a day for them. Do you think there is a cost associated?
Yes, sir.
Yes, everything is money, right? Time is money, people time, any form of resource is
Knowledge.
money. Very good. No, and so all of them are prevention activities. Anything that you do to prevent a failure from happening, that is called prevention activity, and the cost associated with the prevention activity is called cost of prevention. So training, training all your employees is a cost of prevention. Please understand, it is a cost of good quality. So nothing wrong in training everyone in your company. And then appraisal. What is cost of appraisal? You have created a production schedule. Will you go and check every day, every shift, whether the production targets are met or not? As a production manager, your job is to ensure you produce, items as per the requirement. So some little bit of inspection is required. For example, in the training program, I want you to be on video. Why? I wanted to check whether you are listening to me or not. Some appraisal is always, required, unavoidable. Otherwise, people will completely sleep, right? Flat on the bed, and then they'll they'll be sleeping. So, so some appraisal is required in your company also. It is like any inspection you do, any testing you do, and equipment monitoring, right? And then calibration, audit, a cost associated for each and everything. These are all called appraisal. Like some mock exam we are going to conduct to prepare you for the black belt, and that is also an appraisal, right? All of you with me on this? Both these put together is called cost of good quality. And whether it is a soft cost or a hard cost, whether it is a direct cost or an indirect cost, use the RK's template and come out with the dollars, right? And then cost of poor quality. So in spite